You know how you could tell, fight the fight. You gotta keep getting up. What God told me, keep getting up. I was a guy. I read this scripture. I was like, man, well, how am I gonna fix this? How am I gonna y'all like just keep getting up. I got you. That's what he said. Cause it's like the information was awful. The information I got, and when I got in this situation, it was that this is what you gotta do. And everybody was part of it. It wasn't nowhere I can go. I couldn't go to no law. Everybody was part of it, bro. But this is what you gotta do. So you just imagine battling that in your head, bro. Somebody was evil. Somebody was pretty evil. But anyway, I got on here to talk about in tune. There's a lot of y'all, a lot of us get in tune. You just don't know it. How you know when you got in tune? When you can't move forward. I ain't talking about taking somebody's life and making it your own. When you can't do nothing. When you try, it's one of the ways you can tell you've been in tune. Some of us have already be in tune getting here, but that's for special type of reasons. But then you can do things, low vibrational stuff too long and you're in tune yourself. That stuff we got binding, being in tune, chains, bracelets. You gotta watch for these things right here. These things is alarming to man, bro. Like this stuff is vitally important to pay attention to. And if you always intoxicated, it's gonna be hard to pay attention to it. But another way, like, let's say you got some foreign friends. If you black, you got foreign friends, or foreign friends, or whatever, and they just happen to just leave your life. They leave respectfully. Oh, I'm going here, I'm going there. You go to college or whatever. They wait to that opportunity to go to college. That's when they gonna leave you. They done plotted all that, and you call them while they ain't. Hey, let's get together. Oh, I can't do it right now. I ain't saying this happen like all the time, but it's one of them ways you abstract. And what happened is y'all probably were partying together. And you probably did something too much, too long, and they knew you were gonna get by. I had to learn that from my foreign friend. I had to realize, like, cause I eventually asked, and we got into it. And I realized the path of destruction that most blacks are trained to do, they only temporarily do it. And by the time we realized that we already done got binded to it, and somehow it's like a missing book in that Bible everybody got but us. And somehow they know when we done got binded, bro. And they just walk out of our energy. Safely. So how you know when you got in tune, when you can't do nothing for yourself, when you can't move up for yourself, when you can't accomplish stuff for yourself, when you can't do a lot, anything really. It just make it hard for anything. And it's in tune. So how do you get in tune? Stop sinning. Believe it or not, like, there's a lot of people, you might think everybody now. We gotta stop looking at people do things out of moderation and automatically assume that they sinning. That don't mean they sinning, bro. That don't mean they sinning at all. Yeah, you get in tune. When you get in tune, it's over, bro. It's over. And that's why they leave us. It could be sex, it could be anything. Oh, she gonna keep doing that, or he gonna keep doing that. Okay. They might do it with you every day to get all right, maybe once. You probably have them do it with you once, twice, whatever. And they gonna walk out your life and let you go, and leave you alone. I'm glad God had me right here, because I was able to see stuff, bro, I ain't never seen in my life. I never noticed in my life. I'm kind of glad. I mean, I'm telling y'all, bro, I did a lot, bro. By the time I was a teenager, with some help, my brother actually started it. But by the time I was a teenager, I started a studio, and I had my own business. I started a studio, and I went and bought a business license for the yard, and uh, I was a teenager doing this. Um, and I wanted to get in dealership. I wanted to have my dealer license. So I had to rent out this car lot temporarily. And I had to have a phone and all this and that just to get the license or whatever. But I was really going to shift the license to my land, which cost a lot, but it wouldn't have been, it was better for me than to really buy another, a building. I couldn't afford all that. I was doing this all for hardly nothing. I was hustling, but I was working too, and the job, I wasn't making but like $16 an hour. So I would work that job. I worked 2 12-hour jobs, and I was hustling. I would go to Black Friday stores and get a job. Back then, I was still dealing with Lucy now, and I would get them to help me get jobs and stuff. And that's when I noticed she was, wilding a little bit. That's when we really separated. But I would be like the door clerk, the door personnel, and they was need somebody to look set the door to come into place or whatever to get clothes. And on Black Friday, the people who worked there, I would just do it because they had these stack of shirts and stuff like that. You buy these stack of shirts for hardly nothing. So I would buy a bunch of clothes, and I would go back to the block. I was already on the block. I would go back to the block, sell shirts and stuff like that. And cats that was out there had a lot of money. Like, let me get about 5 or 10. Let me get about 5. Everybody wanted a t-shirt. Back then, t-shirt was jumping, bro. Especially them long ones, when people had t-shirts so long, they could jump out of a plane and float. And so I would do that, and I just wouldn't sleep, bro. I was around the clock, man. I would go in the studio, try to teach myself how to read and learn. I'm in there blowing up machines and devices. And before you know it, we went from spending like $25,000 on the studio to almost $100 grand, bro. We were blowing mine because I was trying to figure out how to build it myself. And I couldn't read that good at the time. I was trying to fix it myself, blowing up stuff. So it was a lot of hustling going on. And a lot more than hustling. It was dark then. My brother was still alive then, so it was pretty dark. I can't tell them stories. And so we hit some licks, and we invested, and then what happened? I got them 2 jobs. I started working too much. I started missing out on good times. I got 2 12-hour jobs, and like you work 3 days, off 3 days, or work 4 days, off 3 days, or something like that. And every time I was off at one job, I go work at the other one, so I was never off. And I would make like $3,000, $2,500 every 2 weeks, $3,000 or something like that. And then I had my hustling money, and I would just invest. And I have a girl, and I ain't giving her no attention. I'm working so hard, I ain't thinking about it, bro. I'm letting her have her freedom, though. I'm like, yeah, you do whatever you want to do. And then eventually, we just separated, whatever. I ain't bothering them about it. I'm like, I'm working. So, it wasn't like that. Well, I was done with all that by the time I got with Sam. But, so I done built a studio, and I'm working on this realtor license stuff. And I'm already good with cars, building cars, man. I know everything about cars. So I'm trying to sell cars. I'm doing pretty good at hustling up cars, selling cars. And I got with my ex-wife. I had already started looking into real estate, but I just didn't have the time to put in it. But when me and my ex-wife got together, I put her in school, paid for that. And we worked pretty good together when it came down to business stuff. And I knew something was off about her because we lost like 3 nice homes. We had one home they were gonna sell us. We were pretty good at real estate. Uh, they were gonna sell us this home that was worth like 1 point something million. The economy crashed. They were gonna sell it to us for like it was like 100,000. It was low. So I'm like, hey, I'm gonna get up 20 grand, and I'm gonna 15 grand. I'm gonna let you go pay down, and like you pay down on the home, and give them to hold it for you or something like that. And I gave her that money, and she lost that money in 8 hours. I still don't know what happened to that money to this day. And we got into it, you know what I'm saying? Really, that was really we just got into it that day. But it took something that serious, bro, to really get, that's how it was. We really hardly argued like that. She made a big deal out of everything, though, because she was probably talking to somebody the whole time. But out of 10 years, it's like, we had like 10 arguments, if that, bro. We had a pretty good relationship, bro. She just was too busy to realize it, I guess. But, and then every other weekend I gave her her time, because I knew I was always busy, so I would always work. But like I said, I was a teenager, bro. I had already built my own business and everything by the time I was 18. And by the time I was 25, I got a full-time job. I was doing radiologist, and I was I had my, I could sell, you know, I was hustling cars, and what else I was doing? By the time I was 28, I was selling cars, studio time, and homes. I mean, we wasn't really getting nowhere, because some of now I know why. All the hating, everybody was hating. Everybody was hating. When they wasn't hating on me, they were putting stuff, bugs in my ex-wife ear, making her sabotage the relationship. So that's why we were losing. Cause it was another house we could have got. This house was like valued at 500 grand. And they were gonna sell us this house. Like I said, it was the economy crash that had crashed. They were gonna sell us this house for about 85,000 or something. And I was like, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get that. We can get that. She let that one go. Like every opportunity we had, she'll call up the hater, and the hater see to it that she screw herself up. And that's why I tell people, bro, don't deal with folks. But anyway, on my own, like I said, by the time I was 25, 28, I'm selling cars, studio time, working full time. I'm doing my own thing, grinding. That's why I was shocked they did this to me. I'm like, I'm the hardest worker on the block. You know what I'm saying? I'm the one that's actually trying to help people, protect folks, and put something in the hood so people can have something to do, because there ain't nothing to do in our hood. And you sitting there, you gonna decapitate me? It make you not want to try, bro. You try for yourself, try with God. I always try for God. But it make you not want to do nothing else. Throw your motivation in the trash again. You don't even want to get high no more. You get high to motivate, you throw that in the trash too. So, I work hard. And by this time I was getting calls. I can get calls for about I can get calls that's worth like $20,000 for $800. And I was doing good, bro. The whole time, the hater was sitting right under my nose, bro. Like you can't have, your loved one can't compete with a love. If you're a lover and you competing with your lover, separate. If you can't stop that, separate. Because you ain't supposed to be together. But don't even waste each other's time. Because lovers ain't supposed to do that. Lovers not supposed to do that. But yeah, I was doing good. And like I said, when I was in the street, same thing, bro. When I was in the street, grinding around the clock. I can't go into detail about all that, but you know, we all know it's more to the streets than dealing drugs. You know, there's a lot to the streets. It got dark. It get real dark. But I was I was grinding there, all over the place there. Like I said, 7th grade, 24 karat gold grill in my mouth. Real. I was telling a girl, I was bad though. I was telling a girl I would pull money out of my pocket and I throw it at the crowd and say, I got enough money to put you in my pocket. That was awful, boy. I got enough money to put you in my pocket. I was awful. Oh, we all throw it off. And people were more scared of me, bro. Like, you moving too fast to be so young. And I didn't even realize. I ain't even realize. They were like, you moving too fast to be so young. Yeah. So it was like, that's why I said what I said on my previous lecture, bro. It's like, whatever this is they put me in, it's discouraging because I'm a person that's in tune with the spiritual side, and the spiritual side is screaming, and like, it ain't supposed to go down this way, bro. You ain't supposed to be doing that. And that's when I learned from a guy. I learned from the, spiritual realm that you can get in a lot of trouble showing too much love to people who care less about you. And it was like, in this situation, they pretty much want me to accept the low vibrational stunts to, and it probably wouldn't be a big deal. I don't know, I just know that when most people can't hear God and it says a still voice, God get pretty loud in my head and get real clear. Because God the one that told me, well, Michael the one that told me about Michael told me about the cement casket. He said, you're in a cement casket, bro. And I had to think about it. I was like, oh, okay, that's what's going on. And it's like I was programmed to think different, though. I enjoy hustling, though, and working, bro. I enjoy getting my own. I'm telling you, like, family member, friend, they'll do things, extreme things. They'll get your car stolen from you and everything just to see to it that you don't go from point A to point B. They'll keep harassing you. So you gotta be careful when you're dealing with people. That's why I just deal with myself and God, really.